Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's your boy Crypto Wolf, and we have another fight night going on, another of the Indicator Fight Club tonight in the arena. Gonna be the late, the great, the one and only Market Cipher versus 4 other contestants. And we are going to be looking at divergences and seeing who does it better. I'm curious to see how it works out. I've only looked at like a couple just to make sure that it actually does do it. And so we're going to see it together. Real quick quote of the day. It's only after we have lost everything that we're free to do anything. I think I forgot an apostrophe in there, but that's okay. And remember, the first rule of Fight Club is, or the first rule of Indicator Fight Club is, you can talk about Indicator Fight Club. The second rule of Indicator Fight Club is you better go leave a comment, hit the like button, subscribe, all that good shit while you are talking about Indicator Fight Club. And the next rule after that is that there is no more rules, because fuck that, don't fight fair. And here we are over here on the Solana chart. Solana having a decent little time of things lately over on the 1 hour. And right up here, I've got most of Market Cipher turned off except for B, because we're going to be comparing these other ones to Market Cipher B. So ding ding, round 1, let's get into it. The first one here is this PDDR, which is Price Divergence Detector. And if you come up here, you're going to have to do a little search. Just type in diverge or divergence. It's going to come up the same as soon as you start typing it. And we will have down here, Price Divergence Detector. V3 is this one in particular, and we got a couple others coming up, but let's take a look at what we got here. Now you can turn these little upper and lower bands on and off. I just didn't get around to turning them off just yet. Somewhere, show channel, that would be the one. And you can do hidden and regular divergence. You know, the labels are just those little tags right there, which I got them on just so it jumps out at us. I also got this use EMA trend direction, which I think is more behind the scenes than anything. I don't see anything changing once we unclick it. And then you got your normal, length for the method, how many candles it's looking back. And as you can see, this is mainly using MACD, I suppose, for these inputs, but up here in the method you can choose between a bunch of different ones. I've got it on RSI at the moment, and we'll try a couple too real quick just to see, because we're not gonna spend too long on each one, but I do want to see, does it do it better? Who's winning? So round 1, we got, looks like a bearish regular divergence right here. And that would be from about here to this. We do have like a tiny little hump right there. So I suppose technically, yes, that would be correct. We do have just a little upchuck right there. Nothing to shake a stick at. I would not be starting a trade off of that little fella right there. But, at that point, keep in mind, price is going up. Momentum wave is going down. Now, if we looked over here at the money flow, see if I can get the little cursor. So between here and here, it is technically some money flow divergence, but it's only calling from like right here to right here, which technically, yeah, that would be lower, but it's not really a bump. And I'm not trying to just say like, oh, hey, the money flow is lower over here than it was over here, so it must be divergent. I generally try to have some kind of swing in the oscillators. And coming up here, we've got a couple more. Now, this one is a little bit, really, if I were looking at this, I'd be calling it something like that. Let me turn off that Buzz Lightyear infinity line right there. So, we have 2 distinct momentum waves over here. And that's up there. So technically, yeah, it's kind of chopping it up into little pieces, but I would say that's reasonably accurate-ish. And then down here, we have some hidden bullish divergence, which big old gigantic wave, not a lot to work with other than just looking where we're at. We had a little bit of a dip here, and then come down to the next point that it's talking about. It was kind of right around where this dip was, coming up to the backside of this momentum wave. I'm not going to pay that very much attention, don't like it. So for the sake of simplicity, we're going to turn off these hiddens. So where is the next spot? We say bearish right here. Yeah, I can see that. So going downward a little bit right there. That's valid. The next one, yeah, same thing. Some bearish divergence right there. All right. Missing the bigger ones though. I mean, look what we have here. We have a nice big bearish divergence, as can be seen right here. Now that could be a factor of this length. So let's say we change this to 30. And this is definitely not more than 30 candles. 19. So technically I should have caught it with the 20 right there anyways. So no excuses. That's a big old uppercut to the face right there. What else do we got? You know, we're getting some little jabs in. We're getting some jabs. You know, we got a little bearish divergence right there, so that's valid. But again, if I am looking for bigger moves, you know, big shit popping, we've got a couple right here if you extended out that previous one, because, you know, price action's still going up. So kind of missing out on the bigger ones, it appears. Let's jump another time frame, see if anything. I don't see any bullish divergences. Okay, here's one. And did not show up in Market Cipher. Did have it on the VWAP. You know, not on the money flow, not on the momentum. And not really on the RSI either. And it did have a decent little pump, so I mean that could be you know, a little right cross on the side of the PDDR, knocking Market Cipher in the head a little bit, because that was a decent little swing to the upside right there. Let's see, do we have... Got another wee little fella right there. And we did have bullish divergence fairly deep on the Market Cipher. You know, money flow is still coming down, but VWAP was coming up. Momentum waves were coming up. So I'd say that one's a draw. What do we got here? We're saying bullish divergence right there. I'm not even really counting that as two lobes. Let's see here, another. Now, compared to the momentum waves down here, it's such a short one that, you know, it's basically counting from here to here. And technically, yeah, it's kind of going up between those 2 points, but not one that I really like. Now, that said, if you were seeing it over here, maybe jump down to the 10-minute, you know, jack up your whole indicator there. Where do we go? Let's see. Again, with the little teeny tiny ones over here. Not really getting anything big on the bullish divergences, but we did have it on Market Cipher. And if we continue, I want to try to find one where... There we go. Here's one where Market Cipher got it and PDDR did not. So there's a kidney punch right there from Market Cipher. What else do we have here? Technically, we had one here. Didn't play out all that great. but we did have bullish divergence right there. Key aspect to that, money flow coming down. So, you know, it's kind of fighting an uphill battle. Let's see. Did have bearish divergence right here that did not get picked up by the other indicator. So I'm going to call this one in favor of Market Cipher. You know, it did have some good bearish divergences on the higher time frames. Seems like when you come down to lower time frames, it starts getting a little sketchy. You know, we had a bullish pop up here, and it's calling bullish between these two right here. Almost looks like a double bottom. Whereas down here, it's just straight bullish divergence the whole way through. You know, bearish divergence here. Missed the big one. Yep, definitely calling this one in favor of Market Cipher. So, round one, Market Cipher 1. Other assholes, 0. And now that brings us to this RB Knoxville Divergence, I believe it's called. Let's see. Rob Booker Knoxville Divergence. Yep. And as you can see, this guy's drawing lines kind of like the one that we showed in the previous video that we just did on, you know, some of these other tools. And let's just take a look at what we have here. So let's go up to a 24. Let's go to a more moderate time frame here. So we got some big stuff going on for sure. Let's see. So between here and a fairly odd spot right there, what do we have? We have not bearish divergence, and we did have some actually between these two, but as far as, you know, jumping this gap like that, if you watch the other video, you know I don't like it. You know, I'm more or less looking for, you know, peak to peak. You know, jumping off these little middle points right here is just garbage, and I shan't entertain it. Let's see here. What do we got? You know, waves still going up, at least between the heights. You know, we get these little guys in here, but let's say between these two, maybe by the slightest little bit, a little bit of bearish divergence. Let's see, when did this guy come up? Okay, so we're already heading down for that one. Oh, that was lower, so not there. And again, keep in mind, these will be going, okay, I can't really adjust much of anything on this one. Going back 150, looks like it's using RSI and momentum. And on that previous one, you know, it could work out. At the end of the video, I'll come back and try different methods with it. You know, and maybe it works a little better with stochastic over RSI, or maybe it's better with momentum, or, you know, anything on that list that it had. Okay, let's see what's going on at the moment. What's going on here? So they're saying we're getting some bearish divergence. Hey, look at that. It got it right. All right, all right. It's keeping up. It's putting up a fight. It's not just gonna lay on its back getting rabbit punched. What do we got here? A whole bunch of bearish. Whole bunch of bearish. All right. We got us a fight, ladies and gentlemen. So it's holding on. It's holding on. I'd like to see. I'm guessing this is supposed to be bullish divergence, even though it just makes everything red. So let's see. Obviously, you know, as we were coming down and doing these lows, it did eventually come back up. It almost, you know, if it were only this part right here, I'd say, okay. The fact that it's just connecting lows left and right, like eventually it's going to come back up. I don't know. Seems a little bit sketchy to me. Over on Market Cipher, still coming down. And then from here, it's pretty much a double bottom right there. That's about the same height. And again, whether or not you consider double bottom to be divergent, oftentimes it is the sign of the bottom. I mean, lately I've been leaning more toward, seeing a double bottom potentially coming up from there. Add to that, money flow is coming up. So I'll give them this one, this leg right here, and if it's going off of a RSI momentum wave, not that those indicators are really all that great on their own, but it may have seen it. I don't care. It was too early. Here we go again. What do we got? So we got our early bird. Nope, that's still going down. As is this one. So not quite divergent yet right there. It's right about where we got that red dot. So it was almost like it was about to be, but then just kind of continued down. And you can see we got a couple little humps in there with the, you get a little bit more of that definition with the light blue momentum wave. Kind of zoom in here. I'll show you what I mean. You could see it almost looks like a shadow where the dark blue overlaps beyond the light blue. And that's basically the opposite edge as, this almost white edge. And with the light blue being, the leading indicator, the leading wave, and the dark one being the lagging, the dark blue tends to be more smoothed out. Whereas, you can see these sharp little corners on the light blue wave. Let's see. Let's give it one more. Holy crap, look at this guy. That's a big one. All right, what do we got here? I almost need to bump up a time frame just for this thing. So we're looking from, call it about here. No, actually that is down a little bit. So not really seeing that on that one. Let's look at the money flow when we come a great long distance. No, technically the money flow is still a little bit down too. Did not get divergence there. We did get in the more immediate area divergence there in the VWAP. So keep in mind, if you're looking, watch out for those VWAP divergences. Because sometimes even if it doesn't show up in the momentum wave, it might not even be like an overall longer term trend thing going on. But, you start getting that bullish divergence over here on the VWAP, and if nothing else, it plays out into like a nice scalp, as you can see right there. And then what do we got? Technically this was still up a little bit from that one, but as this played out, we got that pulled back a little bit. By that time everything was trending up. Would have been another good spot to get in and ride the lightning. But I'm going to say, it does have some divergences. Let's see. Let's check back on the bearish. So, oh, this one's a little sketchy. Hold on. So if we're starting from here, which I'm gonna call it this guy right there. Now, this was technically a little bit higher from where that line's coming from. Now from this peak to, nope, that's going up too. We do have it. So we got one here, this little short guy. That one did have bearish divergence. And the important thing when I'm looking at this to keep in mind is if you're doing a big one like this, okay, you're kind of expecting a large move afterward when you get large divergences. let's see here. So we did have it actually in the RSI ever so slightly. You know, from this peak to this peak, did have some divergence. Same thing with this peak to this peak, again in the RSI. Did have it in the money flow big time. So I'd say this guy right here is valid. As far as these couple right here, you know, depending on how early they're calling that, you know, from here to here definitely is, but that's, you know, this guy, which again, you know, you're skipping stuff, gets a little iffy in a case like that. Especially these lower momentum moves, I generally just ignore them unless it's like, you know, you're coming down with these and you start coming up real close together. But to here, and you got it in the VWAP. Oh, sorry. Nope. I'm looking at the other direction here. No, that follows. Not really. From that peak to that peak was still up. So don't know about that guy. You know, did have a little bit of pullback, but that was off of this candle. We still had plenty more bullishness to this little upswing right there. So I'm calling that guy stupid. But all right, what do you think? How do you think the Knoxville Divergence Special scores? You know, when you get so many like this right there, I get it, it's showing up in the numbers, but it starts making me think like, all right, you're just calling it every time we get big downswings and upswings. Not every time. I don't know. I'm talking shit. Whatever. Yeah, do have some divergence right there. Barely, but have it right there. You can almost just consider that double bottom. And, you know, a bunch of little ones tucked in there. You could go there, or, you know, you could even call that. So that was a fairly divergent downtrend. You know, had some bigger little retraces to the upside. Let's see. All right, we're calling it on this guy. Yeah. And I imagine, you know, if this is going off of RSI and some momentum wave, that it might be picking it up from back here. But that's the one nice thing about Market Cipher is, you know, you can see it right here in the immediate, and you can, you know, judge all your other little oscillator action in between, and you're not necessarily just limited to, you know, seeing a big dip, seeing a slightly less big dip. You know, you can play off of all that other action going on there as well. So I'm gonna say this guy, you know, it was a close round. It's a little bit of a funky fighting style, a little unorthodox. I'm gonna say it's a little annoying to watch. You know, it's like getting one of them little guys with the gigantic shoulders who's going out there kickboxing, but he's got them little twig legs, and it's just, you're watching and you're like, man, like, you know, like I feel for him, I respect him, but I kind of want to see him get his ass whooped. So let's see, what do we have here next? We have round 3 PPO Divergence Alerts. And slightly different style, which I tried to find ones that were, you know, weren't just copies of basically the same thing. And this guy is definitely different from any of them that we have looked at so far. And so let's just go up to present. Let's see what we're working with. Now, you will notice that we have a line. Super nice, fancy, special line. And then we have these little red and green dots, somewhat similar to our small red and green dots on Market Cipher. And then we have some big orange dots, and it's kind of a brighter orange and a less bright orange, as well as big green dots. And it's a less bright green and a brighter green. And if we go into these settings here, just to show you what that all is, you have bullish and bearish divergence 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, these two are going to be like these 3 and 4 are going to be your big dots, little dots, and it's going to be these are basically the same color at the moment, so you can't really tell the difference. But on the big dots, the bright ones are going to be divergence 4, and you got red and green dots for tops. Actually, I think, yeah, 1, 2, and 3 are all, I think these are all big green dots. Let's see, let's do a little something here. Okay, so we're getting like overlap on these guys. Okay, so the crosses are going to be the number 1s, which looks like it's in pretty much every spot, almost. But not all of them definitely have the 3 and 4, because I was playing with those a little bit. But oh well, let's just, let's say we got, you know, little tops and bottoms and then divergence alerts. Keep it simple. So looking right now, what do we have? I'm gonna shrink this down. No need for that to be that big right now. All right, so we had divergence alerts popping up, bearish ones like right here. And this is true. We have, you know, a lot of different divergent action. We've got money flow, momentum wave. Maybe not so much on the VWAP, except maybe back here a little bit. Yeah, it's getting annoying how it hides that behind there. So, looking right here, if it's calling out maybe from here to here, I'd say yes. We got this little dot right here, here to here, I'd say yes. Over here, from here to here, I would say yes. So that's 3 out of 3. You know, Mr. PPO is throwing some punches, coming out swinging. Let's see, what do we got back here? More bearish. Okay, we gotta take a closer look here. So, that 4 pixels doesn't help. Okay, so that is a higher high. Definitely bearish divergence on the money waves here, and the alert is correct. So, what do we have? 4 out of 4 so far. Not bad, not bad. What do we got here? All right, seeing it on the VWAP, but that's a little bit ahead of where this is. Seeing it on the money flow, which, okay. But as far as the momentum wave, you know, not seeing it on the RSI, not really on the momentum wave either. We are seeing it on the money flow. So, and you know, and it did go to the downside. So I'm gonna say that you know, we'll give it that one. You know, it may have even grabbed it a little bit better than Market Cipher. So, a little punch to the nose right there. Let's try to find one that the PPO did not pick up. Now, we did grab right here. Good, you know, got a good alert right there. What do we got? Got a good alert right there. Good alert there. Picked up one between here. Good alert, you know, showing up over here still. All right, let's see. We got... Nope, didn't catch that one. Although we did get the big green dots, but... is this lower? So we have a little bit of a bullish divergence right here. And as a matter of fact, we did. Whoops, did I? Okay, actually we got it. I meant to draw both these. Got it right there too. And down here we did catch this guy right on that one. So not too bad, not too bad. Let's see. Big one right here. Did not pick that one up. Now I wonder, these small green and red dots, you know, if they're picking up peaks, how well are they doing? Yeah, that was the peak on that one. A little late on that. But if you were, you know, assuming we would get to, you know, this green one and come down, I mean, it would have been a good time to enter that one. Seems like we have a little bit of a delay, like it's a little confirmation on the turnaround. Got a big, a bearish right there. I mean, I suppose if you were considering like that, but not really showing up on the Market Cipher. A little bit of a bullish right there, because we're kind of getting like a almost a triple bottom for real, with a little upward in the lows on the momentum waves. So interesting that it threw a bearish divergence in right here, when really, you know, the bigger story was a bullish divergence, which obviously played out quite nicely. What we got here? It's coming up a little bit, but almost more like a double bottom, but a little bit more upward movement in this. Looks like we were calling bullish divergence way back up here, which would have been a little too early on that guy. I could see if it was going between these two, technically, yes. You know, price was getting lower. And momentum waves were getting higher. But we did have this funky little action right there. And the money flow was coming down. So not one that I would have been on top of. Let's see. What do we got up here? We got another bearish. All right. The ref's ringing the bell. The round's almost over. What do we got? Bearish divergence. It did play out to the downside. We do have it going up, and it did show up there. And ding, ding, ding. That is the end of round 3. I'm going to say it's been pretty decent. I'll give it that. It's been pretty decent. You know, I'll definitely take Market Cipher over this guy regardless, because, you know, there's a lot of price action in between that you can spot divergences on that aren't showing up, or at least aren't being alerted on here. Now, I don't know what it's using. Precision. That's interesting. I don't know what that does. I don't know what it's using to, you know, decide that these divergences are happening. It doesn't really tell you. What happens if we do this? Nothing. So yeah, so that is the PPO Divergence Alerts. Close that up real quick. And in the final round, our final events for the evening. In the home corner, of course, Market Cipher. be the oscillator of oscillators, the annihilator of indicators. And in the visitors corner, we have Divergence Indicator. Pretty much about as nondescript of a name as you could give it. But to find this one, it is actually in this technicals category right here, along with that Rob Booker. But yeah, Divergence Indicator in the technicals when you do a search. And as you can see here, you know, we kind of have the lines and the little labels going on again, like we had in the previous one, except it has its own little oscillator down here. And let's go to the, oh shit. So time frame that you can adjust allows the indicator to be calculated on a time frame different from the chart's time frame. RSI period, RSI source. Now this is interesting, and I'm curious to see if we can, let's say we do it on the blue wave. Son of a bitch. It's the second time I've had this happen trying to find some of these divergence indicators. Basically, apparently the way they're doing it is it's adding an indicator on top of another indicator. And unless you have a better subscription to TradingView than I do, it's not going to let you do it. Which is interesting because that other one we were using, divergence on many indicators, actually did let us use Market Cipher. So screw you, Divergence Indicator. But let's see. Yeah, really, we're just going to use close. Pivot look, maximum look back range 60, minimum 5. So plot bullish, hidden, bearish, hidden. Looks good to me. Got all our fancy colors. Overbought, oversold middle line. Okay, so it looks like we generally have like an RSI. Is some correlation here to, you know, the regular RSI up here. And it looks as though we are looking at RSI divergences. And just right off the bat, you could tell price action going up, RSI coming down. So yeah, bearish divergence. Over here, what do we got here? So we got some bullish. No, that one's crap. Not divergence. What do we got over here? Going to this peak? Seriously? Okay, not divergence at that peak. All right, so far Market Cipher's landed a couple right hooks to the nose. Divergence indicator's eye starting to swell up. It's looking ugly. What do we got here? Okay, we finally have a bullish. We have some bullish divergence. That is correct. What did Market Cipher show? Double bottom. I think we already looked at that one. Let's see. Okay, here we go. So we do have, it's slight, but okay, here's if I went sideways, and you actually got to come down a little bit. So we did have bearish divergence on Market Cipher right there, but where the indicator is calling it, oh, I can't go between those. The indicator is calling it right there. And if you look at the chart, the price is going down. And that is not divergent. So that's a black eye right there. What else do we got? I'm going to go to something different. We keep looking at the same ones. So we got some bullish. Yeah, technically that one's right. That's a little bullish. Kind of a funky time to grab it. So we're going from there. Where are we at? Here. And it did show up in Market Cipher as well. Lower, higher, way higher. Very much in Market Cipher as well. Right here, right there. Correct. Looks like might be doing a little bit better on the hourly. Correct. Ooh, it's neck and neck on the hourly chart. What do we got here? Uh-oh. Technically, that is a little bit lower. Oh, wait, no, we're going to here. So, yeah, that's a little bit lower. And if you were going between those 2 points, technically that would be bullish divergence. But it would be a terrible time to go long off of that bullish divergence, as we weren't even close to the bottom yet. Now you can say we did have it right here between these two. Still not a great time. Immediately after that, to the next peak, showed up down here, which it did here. And then, yeah, momentum dipped pretty low on this guy right there on both of them. Let's see. Between these two, you know, got the bearish divergence down here. Did not get it in the Market Cipher momentum wave. Did get it in the VWAP and the money flow. So it's, I guess, one of the benefits of having Market Cipher for doing this is you are not just limited to the momentum waves. So you got some backup in the game. You know, when you're in the ring, it's not just one against one. You got the whole clique in there, and everybody's throwing punches from every direction. Divergence Indicator just doesn't know what to do. It's getting blindsided. Bearish. Yep. So I mean, as far as what it's calling out good ones. I mean, so you know, you got to give it that. When it calls out divergence, it is getting divergence. So it's not a bad indicator. It just doesn't quite have the punching power of Market Cipher. You know, you don't have, obviously, money flows and VWAPs. You do have an RSI. But other than that, you know, you're just using it for divergence alerts. Now, we could see if we have a scenario where Market Cipher is finding a divergence where this indicator is not. Let's see. Yep, got those ones. Got that one. Coming up. Got a wee little bearish up here, but yeah, could technically go to either of those. Both would be valid. Okay. Yep, got two there. All right. Now, it's generally calling most of the important spots. See, right here, though, you know, price is already going up at this point. So that is not divergence. Calling it right there. Saying, where is this? So from... we may have a couple that aren't so hot. So from here, price going down, indicator pointing up. According to this RSI, yeah, that would be divergence. But we did still continue down. And it did show up here as well. But money flow was kind of going sideways at the moment. So, okay, so I can see why we didn't get anything out of it. Which you wouldn't know just looking down here. Not really there. All right, ringing the bell on this sucker. So that one again is the divergence indicator, and You know, we had some close rounds. They were keeping up. They were keeping the fight going. We got some blood on the floor. Things were getting intense. But I'm going to have to call it by referee or judge's decision. The winner is still undefeated heavyweight champion of indicators is Market Cipher. So if you know any other challengers you would like to see compared, you know, we did the Market Cipher imitators in the one video, and we had some close competition. We did have some who were standing toe to toe. But if you want to see something compared against Market Cipher, let me know in the comments. Tell me what it is. I will look it up, as long as I don't have to pay for it, because honestly, I'm not about to just throw money on a subscription for something that I can use for one video. I mean, if it's absolutely outstanding, fantastical, amazing, supposed to make you a millionaire quicker than a TV show, you know, we'll take a look. We'll see. Let me know. Otherwise, love y'all. Have a fantastic day. And remember, stay free. And be a badass. That's bringing the ribbon back, really? I think that's the first time I've closed Market Cipher A in a long time. I'm surprised it didn't bring back my previous settings. Oh, now it's white. Now it's a white boy. This one. Do I want it yellow? I'm gonna leave it white for a minute. Let's see. Got the color change and click. So what do we got going on at the chart for a moment? If you're still watching at this point, I might as well take a look. We potentially hitting a local bottom. Still have some more room on the RSI. On the 4-minute though. Let's see. Coming down, super choppy on the money flow. Basically what I figured it would be. Do have, speaking of, some divergence over here. Some bearish divergence on Solana. Let's see what's up with ETH. You know, having a pullback. Man, when did we have that pump? Probably while I was talking my ass off. Yeah, it's only 1%. If you do remember from the previous video where we did the analysis and we threw up these golden pockets and everything, you can see where we just have been bouncing around inside that golden pocket. If you remember where we drew those lines, you can see we did break to the upside, but didn't make it much past that. And even in, you know, the little bit that we pulled up above the golden pocket right there, looks like we found resistance at that purple dotted line right there, that resistance line. And when we headed back into the golden pocket of doom. Oh, it looks like we still got this little guy up here. Oh, if we're going to start going up, I'll drag it out, see what happens. Let's see, Bitcoin. We got that resistance range up there. Obviously hovering around this range. We do happen to have a spider line right here that we've been bouncing off of quite a few times. So we'll see what happens if we're going to break through that. Yeah, money flow just kind of hovering in the low red. I say low, but you know, you think low, you think down here. So hovering in the high red. RSI together and strong, pointed to the downside. Starting to weaken a little bit on the DBS side. You know, you got these higher wicks right there, which means you're coming down and then you kind of came to a pause going sideways. If you were to look on regular candles, you see what I mean? And if you are using Heikin-Ashi candles, sometimes it's good just to flip to the regular candles just to see, you know, if you see something in the Heikin-Ashi, just so you know what's really going on with the regular candles, so you kind of have it in the back of your head. But all right, that's it. I'm out. You all have a wonderful day, and I will see you back again soon. Possibly tomorrow. Supposed to be going hiking tomorrow morning, so maybe I'll have some nice pictures to show you if you're nice. If you ask nicely. See some cool stuff and places and things. Be totally nondescript and anonymous. All right, I'm shut up. Later.